of Daf Hashavuah, which only starts on Monday. So we'll be able to go a little slower and do a little bit less each day until, I guess, next week. So says the Gemara, Zok the Gemara. Hashta, we already said in the Mishnah that when you're dealing, there's two types of fields. There's a Sada Beis Hashlachin, which is an irrigated field that needs rain. You need to, other than the rainwater, it needs to be watered by people. And then there's a Sada Beis Habal that is it could rely on rainwater alone because that's at the bottom of the mountain. So we said in the Mishnah that a Beis Hashlachin on Moed on Moed is and in Shvius you could use a spring, a new spring or even an old spring or even a new spring, and we're not concerned that the walls of a new spring will fall apart and that you'll end up fixing it. So frekti Gemara hashta yesh lomar, you could say mimayin shiatza betchila, if we allow a spring that's new, the asil and pule, that there's a chance that it could fall through, right? Mashkin, and we allow you to use it to water your field, and we're not concerned it's going to fall. Mimayin shelo yatza betchila. So if you have a spring that's not new, the lo asil and pule, that's not going to, there's no shash whatsoever that's going to fall in. Mi boy, do you need to tell us that you're allowed to use it? Why does the Mishnah have to mention that not only could you could use a new one and an old one? Just say you could use a new one. Amri, I'll say itzrich. You need to. The Mishnah has to say it. Why? If I would have only said in the Mishnah spring, a new spring, havamina, I might have thought hacha hu de beis hashlachin in beis habalo. That's why you're allowed to only water a beis hashlachin irrigated field, and a beis habal, which doesn't really need it, you can't do, right? The Mishnah says you could only do an irrigated field. So if you would have said that you're using a new spring, I would have said, oh, that's why they only allowed a irrigated field, a beis hashlachin. But a beis habal they don't allow, right? Mishum da asil in pule. Avamayin shalayet, but I would have thought that a ma'ayin that didn't come from the beginning, that's not new, the law simply that won't fall. Amai might have said afilu beis habal nami. I would have said that even a beis habal, would be allowed to be used, and therefore the Mishnah has to say both to tell us that in both cases the beis hashlachin, yes, could be used to water a beis hashlachin and not a beis habal. Kamash malan loy. There's no difference between a new spring and an old spring. Beis hashlachin in, beis habal lo. Beis hashlachin yes, beis habal lo. Frek the Gemara. One more small Gemara and then we'll stop. My mashma. The Gemara now just wants to know what's the lashon of beis hashlachin. My mashma. Where does it mashma? The high beis hashlachin lishon et sachusahu. Where do you see in the lashon of beis hashlachin that it means thirsty, that it's a field that needs more water? Dichsiv, because it says in the pasuk by Amalek, va'ata oyef v'yagea, and you were oyef v'yagea. You were tired and you were yagea and also tired. Oyef means more a different lashon. Oyef, you were faint, but it means you were faint. The Gemara is learning from thirst. Mutagamina, and the Targum explains, V'ata mishali v'loi. You were thirsty, you were faint from thirst, v'loi, and then you were tired. And therefore, the Rashi says, the hay mischal b'ches, that you switch the hay with the chef, so it's V'ata mishalhi could be mishalchi. You were thirsty. So therefore here also beis hashlachin means a thirsty field. Umay mashma navi beis habal lishon me'asusi. Where do we see that the lashon of beis habal, a field that is sustained by rainwater alone and that it's good enough? Lishon me'asusi is a lishon of satisfied. Dichsiv ki yival bacher besula. If a bacher will live with a besula, a young bacher, a young boy will live with a besula, just like a young boy is compatible with the basula. So the pasuk goes on to say, so too Klal Yisrael is compatible with Eretz Yisrael and Targum Minon. And the Targum explains, Arei, Kamadi, Kimad mitosiv ulam in Besulta, just like a ulam, a young man, a young boy is mitusav, he's settled, it's good for him in Besulta with a Besula. Yasfun begavayich banayich. So too your children are, and this will end, and so too you could do the thing. Yasfun begavayich banayich. So too your children are settled, are compatible with Eretz Yisrael. You know what? Let me do one more Gemara. And then we'll end. So too they're compatible. Says the Gemara, Man Tana de B'seidin or Vachaloi. Who's the Tana of our Mishnah that holds that for Pseida, for a loss, you could water the fields on Moed and Shvius, Haravachaloi, but for profit you can't. Only not to lose your Karen, the money that you have. And Vafiu Malkum say then even when there's a loss, you can't even do Tircha. Who's that Tana? And Tosis mentions what he means. Stam Tana is Rabbi Meir, so maybe the Tans are Meir. Tosis says that we know we see later that it's not Rabbi Meir. Amar Rav Huna Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakovi. It's Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakov. This is the Havmi in the Gemara. The Tanan, because we learned in the Mishnah. Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakov. Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakov said, "Moishchen esamayim mi'ilan le'ilan." You're allowed to bring water from one tree to another tree. Trees cannot consist on rainwater alone, and it needs extra water. So you're allowed to move water that got gathered into one tree to another tree. As long as you don't water the whole field, the area in between, which are the roots of the tree, which you don't necessarily need to keep the tree going, it would make it better. It would be ravach, it would be better. It would cause you could get a profit out of it, but you won't have a pseida. And as long as you don't water the rest of the field where the roots are. So you see that's the same as our Mishnah. Our Mishnah must be Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakov that says that you're allowed to do the watering in order not to have a pseida, but you can't do it to have profit. So you can do the trees, but you can't do the field. And that the Gemara says no. You only see 1 point. The Mishnah mentioned 2 points. One is that the Mishnah mentioned that there's a din of that you're allowed to water not to have a loss, but you can't water for a profit. And the next one is even when there's a loss, you can only water if it's not a tirchis hair. That second point you don't see from Rabbi Eliezer. So what do we hear from Rabbi Eliezer? Ravacha, that you can't do ravacha. Deloy tircha. The makam say the mishamelei. Do we see? I'm sorry. Deloy. I'm sorry. Aim the shamelei Rabbi Eliezer ravacha deloy. Tircha mamakam say the mishamelei. Do we see that tircha, that you're not allowed to have tircha even b'makam say the mishamelei? Do we see that? We don't see that. And with that, we will end. Thank you very much, guys. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.